Have you ever wondered why, despite visualizing, repeating affirmations, and keeping the faith, your manifestations seem to never arrive? Today, I want to reveal a powerful secret that Napoleon Hill discovered, a truth most people completely ignore, the silent mistake that destroys your dreams without you even noticing. And believe me, once you understand this, the way you attract abundance, success, and happiness will change forever. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here I share hidden teachings from masters like Napoleon Hill, Proctor, and many others that transform the way you think and manifest. And if this message resonates with you, give this video a like so that more people can discover it as well. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you work hard on your mindset, trying to stay positive, but reality just doesn't shift? That happens because of an invisible, silent mistake Napoleon Hill identified in his research with millionaires and leaders. This mistake is so common that even well-intentioned people fall into it every day. Without realizing it, Hill called it an inner contradiction. While your conscious mind says, I want prosperity, I want success, I want love, deep inside your subconscious, there are hidden beliefs that contradict everything you're asking for. And when that happens, your vibration is split into two opposite directions. One part attracts, the other repels. The question is, how can you detect if you are falling into this silent mistake? And even more important, how can you eliminate it so the universe responds clearly and powerfully in your favor? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to recognize this invisible enemy, how Napoleon Hill advised to defeat it, and how you can transform your mindset so nothing blocks your manifestations. But first, I want to invite you to comment below. Have you ever felt that inner contradiction between what you desire and what you truly believe about yourself? I'd love to read your story, because your experience can also help others in this community. Napoleon Hill spent more than 20 years interviewing the most successful men and women of his time. And in all those conversations, he discovered something that seemed to repeat itself like a universal law. People fail not because of a lack of talent or opportunities, but because of a subtle contradiction within their own minds. Hill explained that the silent mistake happens when you declare one thing out loud, but secretly doubt yourself inside. For example, you say, I want wealth, but in your mind a whisper says, you don't deserve it. You'll never have enough. You were born to struggle. And even if you try to ignore that voice, the universe doesn't listen to your words. It listens to your vibration. Do you see how powerful this is? Your conscious thoughts may be repeating positive affirmations, but if your subconscious is loaded with fear, guilt, or scarcity, that's exactly what you project into the world. And according to the law of attraction, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you deeply are. That's why Hill insisted on the importance of aligning faith with desire. He said that burning desire is the beginning of all wealth, but that desire must be backed by unshakable faith, with no doubts, no inner voices sabotaging your path. Otherwise, you fall into the invisible trap that blocks manifestations. Think about it. How many times have you started a project with excitement, but after a few days, your thoughts started sabotaging you? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people judge me? That is exactly the silent mistake. And as long as you don't face it, you'll keep attracting obstacles that mirror your inner insecurity. The most striking part is that Hill said this mistake is so silent that 90% of people never even realize they have it. And that's why they end up frustrated, asking why their life doesn't change, even though they visualize, meditate, or repeat affirmations every single day. Now the big question is, how can you transform that inner contradiction into a magnetic power that pulls in exactly what you desire? In just a moment, I'll share the exact keys Hill recommended to achieve this. But before that, let me know in the comments, what is the #1 thing you're trying to manifest right now? And what inner voice do you think might be sabotaging you? Napoleon Hill often repeated a phrase that seems simple, but carries enormous power. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The key word here is believe. Conceiving a dream is easy. Everyone can imagine a rich and fulfilling life. But truly believing it, feeling it as an absolute certainty, that's where most people stumble. And that stumble is the silent mistake, wanting something with your conscious mind, but doubting it in your heart and subconscious. When that happens, your energy splits. The universe receives mixed signals. One part of you says, yes, I want this. And another says, no, I don't deserve it, I can't. It's not for me. In the end, doubt wins. To make this clearer, imagine your mind as a radio transmitter. You try to tune into the frequency of abundance, but at the same time, your subconscious is broadcasting interference with fear and scarcity. What does the universe hear? Not the clear signal, but the noisy mix. That's why your manifestations weaken, get delayed, or never show up. Hill recommended 3 fundamental steps to overcome this contradiction. First, absolute clarity in your desire. It's not enough to say, I want more money. You need to define how much, by when, and for what purpose. Second, repeated autosuggestion, meaning you program your subconscious by repeating empowering phrases with strong emotion until your deeper mind accepts them as truth. And third, congruent action, because if your actions don't match your affirmations, your subconscious picks up the inconsistency and sabotages the process. Think about it. How many times have you asked the universe for something, but your daily actions didn't reflect that request? You ask for abundance, but act from fear of losing. You ask for love, but don't love yourself. You ask for success, but procrastinate every day. That lack of alignment is the perfect ground for the silent mistake to grow. That's why Hill emphasized the power of applied faith. Not just hope, but deep conviction, reinforced by actions that prove to your subconscious that you're serious. Now that you see this clearly, would you like to know how to shift your thoughts and emotions so your vibration stops being divided and turns into an unstoppable magnet for manifestation? Picture this for a moment. You're holding a powerful seed in your hand, one that could grow into a massive tree, giving fruit for the rest of your life. That seed is your desire. But if you plant it in soil full of rocks, weeds, and dry earth, it will never grow. The same is true with your manifestations. The desire is the seed, but your subconscious is the soil. Napoleon Hill taught that the silent mistake happens when we try to plant seeds of prosperity in soil contaminated with limiting beliefs. And what are those beliefs? They're phrases you may have heard since childhood. Money is evil. Rich people are dishonest. You don't deserve more than you have. It's better to settle than to risk. These ideas get recorded as truths in your deep mind. And even if consciously you want something different, your subconscious enforces them like invisible laws. That's why so many people read personal development books, repeat affirmations, and practice manifestation rituals. But deep down, nothing changes, because they're trying to build a palace on weak ground. And as Hill said, the subconscious doesn't distinguish between what you want and what you fear. It simply obeys the strongest emotion. Here's the problem. Most people feed their fears more than their dreams. They spend more time imagining what could go wrong than what could go right. And since the universe responds to your emotional vibration, you end up attracting more of what you don't want. That's the silent mistake in action. The good news is you can change the soil. Hill recommended surrounding yourself with positive people, feeding your mind daily with ideas of success, and most importantly, using the technique of written autosuggestion, writing down your desire in detail and reading it aloud with emotion every morning and every night. Step by step, your subconscious begins to replace the weeds with fertile ground. Now let me ask you, what negative phrases or limiting beliefs do you remember hearing in your childhood that might still be sabotaging your manifestations today? Share them in the comments, because by putting them into words, you start to disarm them. In just a moment, I'll reveal how Napoleon Hill used a surprising technique to transform those internal beliefs and reprogram his mind for absolute success. Napoleon Hill discovered that the human mind works like a magnet. It attracts whatever dominates your thoughts with the strongest emotion. And here lies the secret. It's not enough to think, you must feel, because the subconscious doesn't respond to empty words. It responds to the emotional charge behind them. That's why Hill recommended a practice few people truly apply: emotional auto-suggestion. It meant writing your desire in a clear statement, reading it twice a day, and doing it with such emotional intensity that it imprinted itself onto your subconscious. It's not about mechanically reciting phrases. It's about charging them with faith, passion, and certainty. Here's an example. Saying flatly, "I am abundant," won't move your subconscious. But if you close your eyes, imagine the feeling of abundance in your hands. Hear the sound of money flowing, feel the security of being debt-free, and then declare firmly, "I am destined for a life of wealth, and each day I move closer to it." That's powerful. Do you notice the difference? The first is just words. The second is an experience your subconscious starts to accept as real. Hill taught that this is how the silent mistake gets destroyed, by replacing inner doubts with a stronger, more dominant emotion. And the most powerful emotion of all is applied faith, that unshakable certainty that cannot be crushed by criticism, failure, or delays. The challenge is that most people give up too soon. They want quick results. But Hill warned that success only comes to those who persist. Daily repetition, constant emotional intensity, and congruent action. These are the three elements that turn a simple wish into an inevitable manifestation. Think about it this way. Every single day, you are training your subconscious, either with faith or with fear. And whichever one you practice more consistently will become your reality. So if you want different results, you need to change what you repeat, what you feel, and what you do, until your vibration fully aligns with what you're asking from the universe. Now I want to invite you to try this. What would your personal affirmation be if you had to read it twice a day with full emotion? Write it in the comments. I'd love to see how you'd reprogram your mind starting today. In a moment, I'll show you how Hill advised, using the power of creative imagination to give form to your desires and speed up your manifestations. Napoleon Hill devoted an entire chapter of his most famous work to the power of creative imagination. For him, this faculty was the bridge that connected the human mind with the infinite intelligence of the universe. And here's the key. Imagination is not just a tool for dreaming, it's a channel for manifesting. Hill explained that everything in existence, from skyscrapers to million-dollar fortunes, started first in someone's mind. It began as an idea, then became a clear mental picture, and finally, through action and persistence, turned into reality. But here's where the silent mistake sneaks in. Most people use imagination the wrong way. Instead of visualizing what they want, they spend more time imagining what they fear. They picture debt, rejection, problems, and scarcity. And since imagination is a direct command to the subconscious, it begins working to materialize exactly what is most charged with emotional energy. Hill insisted that imagination must be used as a laboratory of conscious creation. Each day, take a few minutes to close your eyes and vividly picture your life exactly as you want it. Be specific. If you want prosperity, imagine money in your hands. Hear the sound of bills. Feel the relief of paying everything with ease. If you want love, visualize a joyful relationship. Hear the laughter, feel the hugs, immerse yourself in that happiness. The key is repetition. The more often your subconscious experiences that new reality, the faster it accepts it as normal. Once it accepts it, your actions, decisions, and energy begin aligning with that vision. And as a result, the universe responds with opportunities vibrating at the same frequency. Now, let me ask you something. What have you been imagining more often in your daily life? What you desire or what you fear? That answer alone may reveal why your results are delayed or why you're still stuck in the silent mistake. Up next, I'll share Napoleon Hill's final and most important advice for protecting your mind from doubt and negativity, so you can become an unstoppable magnet for manifestation. Napoleon Hill discovered that the greatest enemy of manifestation is not a lack of desire, it is doubt. Doubt is like a poison that seeps into the subconscious and slowly cancels the seeds of faith you have planted. You may have the clearest vision, the strongest affirmations, and the most powerful imagination, but if doubt enters your heart, it quietly erases everything you've built. He warned that most people do not lose because they lack opportunity. They lose because they sabotage themselves with inner voices like, "What if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" And every time you give power to those voices, your subconscious listens and obeys. The truth, according to Hill, is that your subconscious cannot hold faith and doubt at the same time. One will always dominate. That's why his advice was to saturate your mind with faith until there is no room left for doubt. How? By constant repetition of positive auto-suggestions, surrounding yourself with uplifting people, and consuming material that keeps your mind aligned with success. Think of it like this. Faith is a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Doubt, on the other hand, is like a weed. It grows when you neglect your garden. That's why vigilance is essential. Every negative thought must be caught and replaced with a statement of power. Every moment of fear must be shifted into a vision of courage. Hill's timeless lesson is that your mind is the only territory you fully control. Guard it as your most valuable treasure because it truly is. The silent mistake of letting doubt run free is what ruins manifestations before they have time to mature. But if you master your thoughts, you master your destiny. And in the last part of this video, I'll share the exact step Napoleon Hill suggested to finally break free from this silent mistake and make your manifestations unstoppable. So here is Napoleon Hill's final key to escaping the silent mistake that ruins manifestations: persistent action guided by faith. He explained that the universe responds to those who not only think, but also act in harmony with their thoughts. Too many people stay trapped in wishing and hoping, never moving beyond imagination. They wait for the perfect sign, the perfect moment, or some external miracle, when in truth the miracle is already within them. Hill believed that manifestation is not magic, it is a science. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are aligned, results are inevitable. But when you think one thing, feel another, and act in contradiction, you send mixed signals to the subconscious, and it cannot deliver. That's why so many people spend years manifesting without results. He urged his readers to begin with small, consistent actions that confirm their faith. If you believe in abundance, act abundantly. Save with confidence, give generously, and invest wisely. If you believe in success, walk with certainty, speak with conviction, and take bold steps even when fear whispers otherwise. Each action reinforces the subconscious belief, and soon the universe bends to match that new reality. Now, let me ask you, are your daily actions supporting your manifestations, or are they quietly canceling them? Reflect on this, because your habits reveal whether you're building faith or feeding doubt. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me, what is the one manifestation you refuse to give up on? I'd love to read your answer, and remember, in the description, you'll find powerful resources that can complement your journey and help you apply Napoleon Hill's wisdom in practical ways. Keep your vision alive, protect your faith, and align your actions. That is the antidote to the silent mistake. And now I invite you to watch the next video appearing on your screen. It continues this path of awakening and will take your manifestations to an even higher level.